We did it, team. Scorpio, we made it. You are our 12th and final sign in this wonderful, huge download pack of a Libra, new moon, eclipse, little treat we wanted to go ahead and put out on this station. But, geez Louise, I suppose I had already kind of disclosed this in Leo, who I just finished, which is a powerful reading. But one of the things I thought about was like how much I knew Spirit wanted me to do your messages today based on the downloads that I had gotten from the eclipse. So that could be a huge thing for you Scorpios, is like revisiting something or like getting to something, because this missing piece that you've been restored under this moon is now got you in the best head to decide what should come next. King of Cups. So just truly excited, just showing some energy. I'm going to do just a quick shuffle, but yeah, no other impressions other than that, Scorpio. I'm going to give you the floor to connect with what is current for you. Okay, off top, this is giving very much Libra new moon. Justice. I think that our Scorpio collective is very much getting... I can't really put this in any other way. Like, it is time to deal with the karma that is on your soul, for light and for dark. Regardless of how this is coming, this is the theme, dealing with, having to really confront, what you are owed karmically for light and for dark. You get what I'm saying? Because at this point, oh, thank you, Spirit. I feel like Scorpio is getting karma for the way that they were conducting themselves on the boats. So what do I mean by that, Scorpio? We're going to run it back because I'm going to talk to you like you know what the fuck is going on. So Spirit has always prophesied that there will always cyclically be floods, and they come in cycles, and they're whispered down to civilizations as needed. And it's something that we connect to our humanness through to receive. And you get this, Scorpio, obviously. So there are times in our lives, in our cycles, where we are going to be expected to surrender. And sometimes the surrender is amongst a group, right? And that group is comprised of whoever Spirit needs to put together for a certain amount of time to get all of these people from one shore of consciousness to a higher shore of consciousness, while Spirit is the only one pushing. So you get grouped in with all these other passengers on a boat that is now being sailed forward by Spirit. It's a tight space. It's a boat. There's not that many places to go, regardless of the size of the ship, the boat, it doesn't matter. There's not that many places to go. But when you're on the boat, it's the same as when you ride anything. There are going to be rules of conduct. And I feel like for Scorpio, we rule and govern the domain of the 8th house, right? Which is the part of our consciousness that is taboo, that undermines things, that underpins things, that looks at the undercurrent of what's happening, or what could be happening, because we could be looking at something conscious as being one way, and under the veil, it's a whole nother shamil. And so Scorpio runs that. And so I believe at this time, we are collecting justice and karma and karmic retribution on what just took place, which was Spirit docked the boats, which meant we made it from one shore of consciousness to the other. So the collective ascended together, which is open for anyone to do who is alive and breathing. Any sentient being can ascend with the planet that it is on. That is your birthright. And so when we go through these moments of heightened ascension where we are changing our vibrational resonance as a group, Spirit has you all together. But one thing that Spirit asks you to do, you don't got to push, you don't got to row, you don't got to do much. But I need you to respect the rules of conduct for the boat. And Scorpio can either really help set the precedent and the tone for like how we're going, like what's cool. Because Scorpio is like the bad boy, right? Boop. That's what I just got from Spirit. But Scorpio is like the mischievous energy that like can stir up what's possible, right? And so when I feel like when I opened up to the Scorpionic energy, you guys ruled that, because whether or not like what you like Scorpio knows its power, and I feel like there's a big self-awareness. Like Scorpio, the karma that's coming to you, whether it's good or bad, has to do with how consciously aware you were that you had. Like Spirit knows Scorpio is far more powerful and aware of its power than many people, many other zodiacal entities. So Scorpio is very, very fine-tunedly aware that it has the power to decide what is going to be alluring, desirable, wanted, something that we want to maintain. You're going to decide that for the collective. So I feel like the spiritual health, because everything out right now is swords and we haven't even got any further, but the spiritual health of Scorpio affects the karma the collective sees. So again, if we've got a bunch of Scorpios that are not spiritually upright, meaning they are not standing in the authenticity of a heightened spiritual truth, that they're not resonating with the purity and the highest vibration, then we're going to see that ripple within the collective, because they're going to inspire that behavior in the collective. So again, I'm just getting this huge download about, and it's ironic about the current events, but the Scorpio collective, Scorpio right now, is very much dealing with the judge decision. Like the decision made on Scorpio right now has to do with how they conducted themselves. When I'm hearing everyone was on a boat, like everyone was vulnerable. Everyone could have been influenced. Everyone could have been affected. Everyone could have been taken advantage of. And there's not much they can do because we were in a boat with Spirit. So a lot of people might be looking around like, why would God let this type of abuse or harm happen on this earth? Why would God let war happen on this earth? Well, wars and things like that happen often when there are times where Spirit has us all grouped together in surrender. So a lot of times those things are planned around an opportunity to attack when we know people are vulnerable, when we know that people are submitting to the higher will of God. That is the time that people attack. So I feel like, Scorpio, that is all really connected with your energy right now, because you are going to be that regenerative health, because you're going to decide whether we can heal people or destroy people at this time. But either way, I just feel like the biggest thing is for the Scorpio collective, we are dealing with straight up law and order for how you were acting on the boat. Let's see. So crossing justice is the Two of Wands. And I think this is the energy, because I want to read this very neutrally for Scorpio, because again, like I said, that's kind of what's like on the table right now. But what I see with the Two of Wands has to do with the inspiration you have. Like, I think Scorpio is also, there's like a lot of plot twists, because Scorpio is about to show us exactly how we are the sum of our parts. So regardless of what the justice or judgment is on you at this time, Scorpio, for how you have been conducting yourself, your plea, your case, your brief says this started somewhere. So I also believe that Scorpio collective is going to expose that what offense that is being decided on right now also is connected to a string of things that all have to do with like a great power. Because sometimes when we talk about multiple events of creating this is 10 wands, how much power is this though? Because this is infinite power for each wand times 10. So again, I feel like you are exposing something. Like our Scorpio collective, for us right now, especially if you're trying to ascend, you are exposing these dense powers, places that people did not know there was that much power aggregated. Scorpio is going to be the light for that. You're going to be the thing that's showing that in the collective at an individual level and then like collectively. But we're going to see that Scorpio is about to show that, like, and it's like Scorpio is like the minor, and I don't even want to say minor because it could be a big deal what is being decided on you in justice, but like in comparison to what you're about to expose, Scorpio, you are just the whistleblower at an energetic level to a powerful beast that's been going on, that's been like running everything. I feel like been like the real thing that everything is connected to. And I think that it has to do with like the collective conscious like deserves to know that like some of the things that run the things we participate in, we aren't also conscious of. So if there are things that I think that humanity, the consciousness that we collectively, as we become crystalline, all of these deep space, dark depth entities that exist that only Scorpio knows are there. Like, Scorpio looks like a heinous villain until you realize that, like, they are just the creation of something much deeper and more hidden than any of you could even see. So Scorpio kind of preps us. It massages us into this idea that there is a source for where this taboo undercurrent ass energy came from, you know. And I feel the very big need that, like, Scorpio is exposing that right now, is the champion of that, is the vehicle through which spirit is letting justice come to something even bigger that has been running bigger things, like bigger fabrics of society for eons. And it's time for those things to change. Like I said, this is a big change with this eclipse. 3 of Cups, Queen of Swords, so I get that what has really manifested for Scorpio, what, like, I almost definitely get the vibe of, like, pending trial, that you, like, get to, like, be a free man until, like, I feel like there is a part of Scorpio that is like, while the smoke clears about what's about to be illuminated, because I think that while, regardless of what views you may have of Scorpio at this time, I think they know that, like, the whole picture is not being shown. And so if you see Scorpionic energy in this experience of connecting with others or the company that you keep, or, yeah, this is also kind of the thing. Like, I think Scorpio is also being audited for facilitating the sort of celebration or the glorification of the thing. So it's like there's something that you are being looked at for what you've done for yourself individually. But there's also, this has to do with, like, are people fully consciously aware of, like, what they're signing on to? I just get this deep energy that Scorpio is about to make people conscious that, like, you have to know where things are sourced from. If you don't know the thing that you like is connected to this, and this, the Scorpio collective is about to, like, wake everybody up to that. Like, and because I feel like that's just what it is. Like, do you know whose party you're at? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you know where you are? Like, and I feel like, again, Scorpio is the conduit for that. Scorpio is the one that sets the tone for what it is. So you're going to want to look at Scorpio in order to understand what kind of fucking acts were taking place. You're going to want to look at the quality and the character of the Scorpio in the room to understand, like, what's going down in this vicinity. Because, again, I just feel like you as a Scorpio were being honest, and you're doing something under one awareness of your truth, but, like, this is a different element. So I feel like also, like, Scorpio, this is also, like, healing a collective wound for Scorpio that is, there's, like, a deep insecurity that, like, you can't be yourself. But, like, whatever wound you have, Scorpio, that you feel like transformed you and that you can't get back, because a lot of Scorpios incarnate here to deal with or play out the karma of something taking place concretely in your life that transforms you. Like, you can never go back to the old form you were. And a lot of Scorpios live in that poison, like the feeling of something that being like poisoned or, like, diluted or not having its original purity and integrity. Like, I feel like many Scorpios live out that pining sensation because of the story of, you know, this life really transforming you and changing you. And I feel like Scorpio, this is really serious. Scorpio, for whatever wound that stemmed and created all of this, I believe there is a Scorpio that was truly devastated by the fact that, like, because this has happened to me, because I have been involuntarily submitted to this experience, I can never be the light version of myself. So I want to hold space, because there's going to be a lot of people looking at Scorpio energy, like, right now, like, why the fuck are you this fucking crazy? Like, why the fuck are you this fucked up? And I think that what people don't understand, and that what we need to get out for the people who can also, like, understand Scorpionic energy at this time, is, like, imagine having an experience, and I know this for me, for my own self as well, like, there are issues of abuse that I faced in my life that immediately after them, the only thing, the hardest part of me is that, like, I can't get back the form I was. I can't go back. I can't maintain the purity that I would have chosen for myself because of the situation. And I think this kind of idea of being condemned to, it's like the Hunchback of Notre Dame is like what's in my, I say like you, this beast, like Scorpio was finding a way to let the beast of them, like they feel like a life experience turn them into a monster, turn them into this like beastly form and version of themselves. And so they feel like all they could do is like, I feel like get people under the wrong element, people had to be not incoherent, I'm seeing in different ways, in order to take you in your authenticity, Scorpio. And spirit does not want you carrying that pain anymore. You don't want people to, because this could just be deep codependency. These could be people that just depend on you in certain ways, right? And that can stem down to like literally, I could see it. It could be as physical as like you always got to be drunk and high when you're around your friend group. You guys can't ever be sober together because y'all don't see nothing. You know what I mean? Or you always have to, like I'm seeing like, you always need people to be under your cult or under your beliefs or under your jurisdiction in order for them to accept you, because there is a wound, Scorpio. There's a huge wounding that says that thing that happened to me changed me fundamentally. No one understands that. No one knows what the original form was. They only now get to see and deal with the version of me that happened to. And so this is almost being like, if God gave, like, this is an issue with God. This is a beef with God, and I feel like it comes from we understand, Scorpio. I mean, if like you were selected to play this very, like we said, 8th house ass role, like it's not easy being asked to be the villain. So, I think sometimes like Scorpio came in like, hey, I'm just like all of y'all in the theater of life. I also just play a part, but my part happens to be the villain. And I feel like, this is a part of Scorpio that's like, maybe in the recent past, Scorpio, you just became the villain because you're like, I'm so tired of always being fucking cast as a fucking villain that maybe I'm gonna just be the fucking villain then. And, that is a very human way to be. And again, that's a weight that we just need to understand. I don't think that it makes any actions excused by any means, but understanding where things stem from, which is the whole point of this message right now that Scorpio governs for us, is that like, that is why they're operating in this way. And I feel like what this eclipse is bringing is deep healing for the Scorpionic influence, which is the healer, Scorpio. In the age of the Aquarian, the way that you will be known is for your healing abilities. Because no matter how dark you took it, Scorpio, you can in any moment choose to propel into your light, take the same alchemical process and garner it towards becoming whole again instead of fragmenting yourself off, because you deserve to be around people that can stand in the truth of who you are and accept you. And again, this goes back to the same thing that a lot of signs were getting in the zodiac, which was what is for you will take you fully. And I think you have examples of that, but you need to know that like this deep desire that you had to draw in all these people to support and uphold this wounded version of you versus the version of you that's healed. Because I think you thought you were really eating the girls. You were like, I am this fucked up, so I'm gonna just walk around this fucked up. But no, we have to have a stand. Like, you don't like that even that isn't authentic, right? Because even that is still giving your your victimizers, that's giving them all the power, right? Like, you going on and living this life perpetuated exactly what they wanted to perpetuate over you. Right? The behavior, you are co-signing the behavior. I know you think you're cunty. I know you think you're different. I know you think you're slaying the girls, but you're actually perpetuating the cycle, Scorpio. You are. And I know the version of you that was being poisoned by their darkness would vow to itself to never fucking become that. And this is the character arc where there is a group of Scorpios, 1818, that can choose under this moon. To not become the same darkness they vowed on that day of offense, on that day of abuse, on that day that where you felt like you will never be able to return to your old form after that fucking experience, bro. You know what I'm coming to mind? Me and my husband just watched Midnight Cowboy for the first time last night, and it really reminds me of it's a gorgeous film. Anyways, me and my husband were just talking about how much like my films are very like 60s style cinematography. So we were talking about that, but also the whole motif, the running poison inside of this Texas hustler, whatever that means, right? We just have different lingo for different taboos, but a hustler is like someone who's going to do anything for what they need. You know what I mean? Which kind of brings you into this 8th house world already, which is like he dabbles in themes like prostitution, sex work. He dabbles in these taboos in these places. And all of it actually stems from, trigger warning, an assault that he experienced that he experienced back in Texas that kind of propelled him and really represented that whole, it's like everything he goes on to experience in New York. It's about a cowboy who goes from Texas to New York. And he goes to New York because he just feels fucking intuitively called. And all he really gets in New York is the depth that he was really seeking to be addressed in Texas, right? And so, you know, it's this whole, like, interesting, it's a dated piece for sure. Like, it's definitely a product of its time, and it's definitely, like, a specific genre and niche of, like, filmmaking. But it is, for what it was worth, it kind of is really making me think about this. Like, I feel like, you know, throughout the film, you see him just, like, manipulate the situations around him in order to feel like, because he's really a wounded man who has had all these unaddressed traumas happen to him, and because he's a man, because of his gender, because of his race, he's a white, you know, cis hetero, allegedly straight man, but he's going to New York and he's finding a way to basically be a queer man, maybe even openly gay man, but while still living under the context of, like, how he's got to spin himself and what clothes he's got to wear. He wears the same clothes every day. He doesn't have a house. He gets, like, he's so broke and he's, like, bumming it around in New York, right? But at the end of the day, the whole point is, like, I think that's what it's about, is, like, it's exactly that for Scorpio. It's like, you don't want to be, you thought that, like, well, I'm finding a way to be my authentic self. So yes, you are living out what you've really went through. You found a way to piece it all together and to show up in that. But I feel like the issue or the karma that the main character was racking up was really that of, like, no one honestly knows who he really is, because he came in talking about how much better he was than other people, and he really manipulated a lot of this, like, his looks, his ability, like, also just manipulating energy and magic in a lot of ways to make people think he was of something, but he was just like every other person who, you know, was unhoused out in the world around him. And after a while, he realized, like, it's hard to really even distinguish himself. And he ends up racking up all of these experiences by the end of the film that it's like, okay, babes, like, it's like, damn, like, now by the end of this trivial pursuit to, like, hide who I really am, I've actually become someone super different because I've had all these experiences that really do amount to a different character person. Like, I was this innocent cowboy when I came here, and I'm leaving, like, as someone who has more experiences than the average person would be comfortable with having. You know what I mean? And so, again, we're talking about in the recent past for you, it's all about how you were conducting yourself when you were in that boat. You know, like, a lot of the karma that you might be facing in life, you have to get solid on that, Scorpio, is that you can't, you know, when we're in the boat, because Scorpio, it's like you are telepathic, you're deeply psychic, you know, you know how energy works, you know what your role is, which is the biggest psychic superpower you can have, is knowing what your superpower is. That's all you need to do, is knowing what it is, and then you can use it. So you use it all the time, and you use it on people you know that aren't conscious, and you use it around people that you know don't have any fucking idea what the fuck is going on, or how powerful you truly are. And Spirit's like, so, you know, you don't be mad when there's flies on the play. Like, these bitches may not catch you, but Spirit definitely does. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? This is what I mean. And I think the issue really was at the deep cause is because, like, the Five of Wands in the energy that I'm getting this in is like, these people are struggling with survival. They don't know, they're not aware that success isn't about one idea of success. It's not about looking like the best person to everybody. It's about what actually makes you feel like successful. So if they all knew that their magic wand isn't meant to be, like, comparing and competing with others, it's actually meant to just stand on its own. And so for any Scorpio that I'm holding space for right now, that grew up in calamity, that grew up in this chaos, and now is dealing with the fallout, the retribution, and the karma of it, you know, of being, you know, Scorpio is really showing us how things get passed down systemically through the 8th house. Like, what things also are getting passed down that we don't talk about, that we don't want to look at, right? Scorpio, thank you, Scorpio, for enduring what you endured. And regardless of whether you have now gone on and continue to perpetuate it or not, someone has to acknowledge that that's where you got it from. And you didn't deserve it then, and neither did the people who were at the hands of again, you abusing the fact that like people are vulnerable and everyone is surrendering right now. Everyone is seeking God right now. Everyone is looking for divine reconnection and divine intervention at this time. You get what I'm saying? And so as a Scorpio, because you know these deeper truths to the world, because you were born that way, you know, to walk around because you don't feel like you can be your full self because you think you're the deepest one. Mind you, you're just a Scorpio. There's Sag, there's Cap, there's Aquarius. Like I said, I think also Scorpio was taking advantage of things that were less conscious in it. And it's time now, at the root of that is that Scorpio, you're ready for a bigger pond. You're ready to go. Trust me, there are more conscious. There are people who are up to your speed. There are people who reinforce it. I'm not even a fucking Scorpio, babe. And I get it. I'm toe to toe. I understand what you understand. I see what you see. I see what magic you feel like is available to you. So no, you're not the only one, but it is about understanding that, just like making people who are less conscious than you confused and recreating that drama, or the times when, like I said, again, I get that this is just a wounding that stemmed from somewhere that, again, you are dealing with in the current state, the karma of, but you are, again, you're doing all of these things. You're exposing how big the scope and the depth of the problem is, you know, just with your situation. But you are also talking about, like, again, everybody wants to feel like they can guide themselves. Everyone wants to feel like they can actually trust in their high priestess, like they can actually be the person that they believe themselves to be in the eyes of spirit. Let's see what's coming in the near future, Scorpio. And this is what I feel. I feel like Scorpio, the judgment of it is like you are no longer, there's no longer access granted to that past. The past that you were building that was connected to the lineage of dysfunction, that where you were showing up as a wounded person, you have no longer got access to that. But on the upside is you're not alone, is what I'm seeing. There are people that are for you in your world, and you know that. I think it's very clear what you don't have access to, what was not for you, but it does not mean that spirit left you unequipped, Scorpio, without people who really see you for you holistically. And perhaps this being locked out of that thing is meant to bring you back into sharing a life with the things that are really for you. You know? And I honestly see for Scorpio, something, I just felt like your cooperation, right? Can help you, can also, I feel like an offer for stability for Scorpio, right? Because like I said, you're really about to do a big service to humanity. Like I said, I don't think people know the way the plot was, and I always say this. Do not think you can kill off a Scorpio. You can't. The bitches will regenerate. Like, my father is a Scorpio sun, and let me tell you something. You try to kill that man, he can't die. He can't. He literally will come back to life. So I feel like the way that, you know, Scorpio is holding down a specific fated karmic role and experience, but in the end, I feel like you're at this place where there's a huge incentive. There is a huge right? Because I think right now, outside of you, Scorpio, the big call is, what is it for you? You get what I'm saying? Is it just really karmic for you? Or do you have any divinity left for you to pursue? Have they made you into the villain that they made you play in the play? Did you choose to give your whole shit to this? Or do you remember that is just a role? That's not even you. You get what I'm saying? The Hierophant, Ten of Pentacles. I also feel like, again, you are going to be responsible for, like, the Hierophants are even changing as an archetype. The abundance that you had, the impact that you had, right? That's all going to be identified, right? And I feel like what was once spiritually, because this is your fear, right? Your fear is that is this traditional figure. Your fear is that, like, your abundance is connected to this spiritual truth. Let's see where this goes, Scorpio. This is super interesting. Wow. Scorpio, I'm going to tell you where this is like All I'm going to say is, Scorpio, let's just start from the bottom. Your current position. Do not lose connection to your higher power. Because whatever thing you've been going through, it's the most important thing for you to understand that, like, you, like, connect deeply with, like, what has been renewing you this whole time. Like, what has been guiding you to behave in the way that you've been behaving. What has been guiding you to get through what you've been getting through, right? At the end of the day, because I feel like that is what you were incentivized by. So, again, we're all conscious. We all have our own past to play. But I feel as though the incentive, again, of reform, of a future, of the promise to build something real, the thing that was always there for you. Because outside of you, I feel like this is the influence, right? And I feel like regardless, because this may not be karma that you can get through for one lifetime, but regardless, Scorpio, what I see for your soul, for your energy, is that this was always on your plate, but you are aware that you still have your sacred work to build. Like, if all of this is coming and going, then that means you've done all of this and you still, like, it feels like the renewal, even for however the karma has played, forever, however the devil is connected to your energy, Scorpio. The reality is that, like, you, in the end of it, at the end of it all, you still have your desire for your world that you wanted to build. Like, I think a lot of this has to do with shit that is, like, past life, karma that pre-existed for you, right? Because if you're coming as a Scorpio, again, there's such a big part of, like, your transformation that is coming out. But I feel like your hope and your fear, it has to do with... But again, the issue with God, the issue with, like, why would, like, and maybe, like I said, the wound for you is stemming. Maybe it's something that, like, maybe God, at the hands of God, the worst things happen to you. You know what I mean? And so in the end, I feel like to get 10 cups, to get this energy of, you know, there's still more life to be lived, that there isn't that, like, coming through all of this, there is nothing really but this open skies, open and available to Scorpio at this time to be able to, like, renew themselves. Like, Scorpio, I think this is a huge coming back to yourself moment under this eclipse, because all of this being rectified means, like, you get to do the next part of Scorpio, which isn't just the dying and the poisoning and all that. It's the fucking rebirth. It's the healing yourself when you were poisoned and extracting it and coming back to life in a new form. And I think, yeah, we're not going to see Scorpio the way that we knew them to be. Because even Scorpio, when the boat docked, had a new life waiting for them in this new dimension, in this new age. And in the age of the Aquarius, I think Scorpio is, I mean, the old world it's collapsing. But you don't have to have a fear of God, because the way that God is intending to mend what you had to go through the age of Pisces is by giving you personally this renewal. So that you know that you were valued for what you had to go through, that being the villain and playing the villain, and whether you gave yourself up to the darkness because you had to play that role either way or not, you know, it's something that people need to acknowledge you were having to commit to, so that we can all grow and develop and evolve, because we can't evolve without Scorpio. So thank you, Scorpio, for staying alive, and living out whatever you've got to live out that you have set for yourself. Because at the bottom of the deck was the fucking 9 of Cups, which means, like, you understand that, like, after all of this many counts, this many instances of being able to revitalize this, you've been this many people in this lifetime. These are all yours to pull from. This is all supposed to bring you power that, like, you can and will become a new person yet again. You can renew who you are. You can. That even, like, the best thing for all people is to stop creating the past that you've done. It doesn't matter if you've always shown up in one way, Scorpio. I really want to say that 3333. It doesn't matter if you've always shown up in one way, Scorpio. Because you've had all these different ways, all these different life experiences that you've had to experience, you don't think you can do it again and make it for the highest good? You can and you will. And so thank you for playing this vital role right now, Scorpio. I mean, I think that I'm just going to have to trust that that's going to work for Scorpios. I mean, it's just the vibe right now. But congratulations on surviving that eclipse and being delivered to your new form. I'm sure you are soaking up all there is to learn about who you are now. Congrats.